Welcome back to a new episode of an Inconvenient Sports Pod. My name is Rod. I'm joined by my other two hosts, Ricky and AG. Say what's up, guys.
What's up?
What up?
You guys are joining us for our draft special today. We're going to be doing our own mock draft for this season. Just to give you guys the heads up again. So, a couple things to go over is the Ravens and Chiefs trade. As we already know, the Chiefs traded a couple first round picks to the Ravens for the rights to Ronnie Stanley. And then also reviewing some of our picks for today. As previously stated, we all had 10 first round picks. However, I was incorrect. AJ and Ricky have 10 first round picks themselves, and I have 9 because I believe that Seattle had a first round pick when in fact I was wrong. So, just going over some of those teams again. AG's teams are the Chiefs, Raiders, Panthers, Eagles, Browns, Jets, Giants, Ravens, Packers, and Lions. Ricky's teams are the Pats, Broncos, Vikings, Colts, Steelers, Saints, Bills, Dolphins, Titans, the Washington football team. And then finally, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 49ers, Cowboys, Bears, Cardinals, Falcons, Bengals, Bucs, and the Chargers. Alrighty, guys. Anything else before we get started today?
Yeah, just reiterate on that. I do not have the Chiefs since they traded with the Ravens.
Correct.
Just to put that out
Originally,
there
AG
again.
had the
But
Chiefs,
yeah,
but correct.
yeah, yeah. But that's it.
Alrighty, Ricky.
Alrighty,
Anything before we start today?
I'm excited to get this train rolling. Let's go.
Alrighty,
let's
guys.
get it done.
So, with the first overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the board, or on the clock, I mean. Alrighty, let's get started. Is in already for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars are selecting Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick. Obviously, no brainer. He's been the first overall pick since before the start of the season when the Jets were originally tanking for him. And then the Jaguars were able to win the sweepstakes for him. I think, he's probably going to be one of the best quarterbacks down the road from this draft class. There are a couple things that I've seen from film from him. I think he has a couple bad tendencies that can easily be fixed in the NFL. One of the tendencies that he tends to stare down the receiver that he wants to throw to, and a lot of good college DBs have noticed that, and they were able to chase down the ball right when he was making that throw. So that's something that can be easily fixed in the NFL, just going through his reads. But he's still the most gifted, athletically gifted quarterback in this draft class. He's tall, he's fairly mobile for his height, and he's got just a fantastic arm. So this is going to be a guy who's going to be a big boomer bust in the NFL in the next few years.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that him going number one. Um, Everyone just kind of figures he's gonna go number one. He's just a special type of quarterback. But I think me and you, Rod, have a kind of a feeling that he's probably gonna need to work on stuff. But it's a great pick for the Jaguars, a fresh start for them, and the fan base should be excited.
Yeah, man. I mean, we, to me, Sunshine has I predicted that he was going to be the number one overall pick back when he was a freshman. I'm like, this kid's going to be a number one draft pick. He's going to be playing big time ball on Sundays, because he just went right as a freshman. Man, to come in to that, it's hard to come in as a true freshman to Clemson and fill in shoes of like quarterbacks in the past like Deshaun Watson and Taj Boyd and all those great quarterbacks. And he just like exceeded expectations, man. He took over that team, and we've seen it for the last 3 years with him that he's just really like he looks a little comfortable in the pocket, which is going to be a really good trait in the NFL, and we'll see how he can develop. But yeah, obviously, like I agree with you guys. Something that he can improve on, not staring down his receivers, and he'll learn in the NFL. But yeah, obvious number one overall pick.
Hmm.
Alrighty, and with that, the Jets are still on the clock, and AG is picking for the Jets, so we are just awaiting his selection.
All right, the pick is in.
Alrighty, so AG, like I said, had the second overall pick for the Jets, so let's take it over to AG for his selection.
All right. I don't think it's going to be a big surprise, but I see the Jets taking Zach Wilson from BYU with the number 2 overall pick. He's just a very athletic quarterback, big arm, can move out of the pocket. He played a hell of a season this last go around, and I mean, again, it's no surprise. His draft stock was going up during the season and on his pro day. He had a great pro day, and I think he would fit really well in is it McDaniel's or no, not McDaniel's. Who's the OC now for the Jets?
LaFleur.
Forgot his name.
McVay? Oh, LaFleur. Yeah,
Yeah,
LaFleur.
LaFleur.
LaFleur. Yeah,
Mike LaFleur.
yeah. Uh, I mean, coming from the 49ers, he's going to implement the same kind of offense that Kyle Shanahan has. And I think Zach Wilson would be a great fit as the quarterback for the Jets with that offense. But yeah, he's going to blossom to really, really great quarterback in the NFL. And I can't wait to see him.
Yeah,
Ricky.
man. Zach Wilson's. You know, we saw this last year that he balled out, man, in almost every game. Um, there wasn't a game where you like weren't like amazed by something that he did. You know, he's just very athletic, has a great arm, is definitely NFL. You know, ready to take on the next step in the NFL, and I'm excited to see what he does. Yeah, with the floor, and yeah, but yeah, good selection by the Jets.
And obviously, he had a huge jump in production from a couple years prior. Before that, he had about 12 touchdowns and then 11 touchdowns the year before, and then he exploded with 33 passing touchdowns this past season. Obviously, was a Heisman candidate for some part of the season. He's definitely going to fit perfectly for that offense for the Jets. And quite frankly, I'm a little salty that he wouldn't be available to us at 3, but that's all right. Alrighty. And now for the 49ers, the pick is in. So I have the 49ers selecting, and then I have a huge drum roll for this because the guys, obviously, we're all Niner fans. I have the 49ers selecting Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State. So originally, I'm a Trey Lance fan myself. I think if he spends a year in this system, he'd learn it and flourish. But there's no denying the chemistry that Kyle Shanahan and Justin Fields look like they have. Like during his pro day, they were smiling and talking to each other. Justin Fields is a big athletic quarterback, and just watching some of his film again, I don't know. I felt like he might actually be more NFL ready than Trevor Lawrence. And I know that's a hot take, and I know that's a very hot take. And I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence isn't NFL ready because he's going to start day one. I just think if Trevor Lawrence wasn't in this draft, Justin Fields would be the number 1 overall pick, hands down, over Wilson. I know Wilson went number 2 right now, but I think that was just a scheme fit for the Jets. But Justin Fields is arguably one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class. Ricky, I'm sorry. I know you wanted Mac Jones. And AG, I know you're happy with the Justin Fields pick. But I would be extremely happy to see Justin Fields in that 49ers offense.
Yeah, dude. Like, he's just an overall great quarterback. I mean, he was the number 2 best quarterback during the season. It's just Zach Wilson was making, um, just making some crazy plays and just playing great games. But Justin Fields, man, he has a high ceiling. I really can't, I really can't wait to see him. If he does end up getting picked by the Niners, it'll just be a great pick for us. And I think he can start day one if he wanted to, but we'll see what the Niners handle that situation. But I like the Justin Fields pick.
Yeah, you're damn right. I'm pissed off, Rod. What the hell? No, man. But honestly, man, I will take. I'm happy with the pick. I just want a guy who is ready to take this to the next step, man. And this guy has all the tricks to it, man. Great athletic quarterback. Great arm. You want to look at some highlights. I mean, that the only highlight you really need to see, maybe, yeah, is that deep post against Clemson in the semifinal, the Sugar Bowl. Man, that
Beautiful throw.
after the beating that he took with that hit in that game, would still come back and make that deep post throw to Chris Olave. God, I mean that describes Justin Fields right there, man. Is the confidence and the poise, want to stay in the pocket first of all, and yeah, deliver that awesome throw. So I'm excited, man. So you have a lot of weapons, and it's a good thing that we're bringing him into an offense that has a lot of weapons. It's not like he's going to come into an offense that's still developing. You have Debo, Ayuk, George Kittle, the Juszczyk. You have all those running backs. Hopefully we can see a little bit more of Jalen Hurd this year. So he's going to come into an offense that is ready to win games, man. And I'm excited for it. I'm all in on it. And go Niners, man.
Go Niners. And he might be in the best situation for a quarterback being picked number 3 overall for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, I don't, I don't remember like seeing a great situation for a top three pick for a quarterback to go to a team that's playoff ready, Super Bowl ready, has a great OC. I mean, a lot of these top 10 teams, they either have a first year head coach or a team that's been struggling with the coach that's, hasn't really caught consistency with the team. But this is probably the best situation for the quarterback going in the top five we have seen in a long time in the draft. And it will just be a great situation for the Niners and also for Justin Fields for his career.
And that's honestly all credit to John Lynch, man, to move up to number 3, man, because that what that says is that okay, I have the weapons now. I just need one. I'm missing one piece, and to go get that guy to put him in with the rest of your pieces, I think you could say completes the puzzle for our offense. And I'm excited, man. I'm really excited.
And the pick is in for the Atlanta Falcons. So for the 4th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Patrick Surtain, the cornerback out of Alabama, the first surprise pick in the draft. A lot of people think that the Falcons might trade down from this pick, might draft a quarterback, but as we all know, the Falcons defense was just horrid last season. It was just the worst defense, aside from the Cowboys too. Both of their defenses were pretty bad. Obviously, they need some holes on the defense. I like Kyle Pitts at this pick because he's an Arthur Smith tight end for sure, but defense has got to be fixed first before you can do anything else. And hey, Patrick Surtain, 3-year starter at Alabama. He's definitely played in some big games, covered a lot of elite receivers over the time. I believe he only allowed one touchdown last season, if I'm correct. I know Ricky's the vote Alabama fan, so he would be able to answer that. But obviously, a very talented DB has gone against the gauntlet every single season. He's the best DB in this class, hands down. Atlanta is going to be happy to get a defensive stud to help, shore up that defense. Because you look at it, when was the last time they went? They went to the Super Bowl. What was a key part of that? Also, their defense was just nasty. So to be able to start getting back all those pieces, you need some defensive help. Patrick Surtain is the best defensive player on the board.
Yeah, man, I can't disagree with that. Patrick Surtain, one of the smartest cornerbacks, I think, not just talent wise, but he's really smart in studying and getting ready for players. He kind of put him into that Deion Sanders category where it just comes to like shutting down, but mentally knowing what the offensive players are gonna do. And it's cool. I'm excited. As a Bama fan or a Bama bandwagon, as you call me, I'm excited, man, because he's a rare talent at cornerback. You don't, yeah, we've seen a lot of cornerbacks come out throughout the years from Alabama, man. I can give you a list, but I honestly it would not end. And but he's just one of those guys that's special. He's got that raw talent with just a really locked down man coverage cornerback, and yeah, great pick for the Atlanta Falcons.
With the 5th overall pick, I have the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Penny Sewell, offensive tackle out of Oregon. Obviously, he's a very gifted offensive tackle. He, makes great leverage. He has quick hands, quick feet. The best offensive tackle prospect on the board by far. Even with the opt out that he had last season, he's still the best guy on the board, and he's going to be able to help Joe Burrow stay upright. You look at Jamar Chase, who could have been picked here. You could have looked at any other receiver, Devonta Smith being picked here. But I think the Bengals need to shore up the offensive line before anything else, because we saw what happened with Joe last season. It was cut short due to injury. He definitely needs help off the offensive line, and You look at Andrew Luck. He retired early because he suffered too many injuries. By the time they actually put an offensive line together for him, it was a little too late. So I think the Bengals don't want to repeat of Andrew Luck's case. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to help Joe Burrow stay upright with this selection.
Yeah, great pick. Just to revamp that offensive line and get, just try to keep Joe Burrow on his feet and keep him healthy, man. It's just, with that injury he had last season, it was just really sad because he was having a really great season. But having that offensive line solidified for him and is a great way to go with it, and this is such a great pick.
Yeah, good pick. Very athletic tackle, man. You don't see a lot of them like him. And like you said, opted out this last year, so you get to see much of him. But from what we last saw of him, we knew that this guy was NFL ready. And yeah, good pick and good help for Joe Burrow.
Alrighty, it looks like the pick is in for the Miami Dolphins. And Ricky, I'm going to take it over to you for the
All
sixth
right,
selection.
and with the sixth overall pick in the draft, I have the Miami Dolphins drafting Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU. I mean, guys, we can talk about a lot of this. This draft is loaded with a lot of receivers, man. But I think the most NFL ready one is Jamar Chase. I mean, you look at this guy; he has like a little bit of Julio Jones written all over him. Great route runner, great size. Gets up in the air and fights for the ball. He's he opted out this last year, I believe, also. But when we last saw of him in that loaded LSU offense,
Yeah.
you know, he was tearing it up, man. And it's gonna be a good pickup. More help for Tua. He needed some receiver help, and obviously, I think they're gonna go out. I think they're gonna go and get him the best receiver possible.
Yeah, going to that Miami Dolphins offense, it's just another added weapon for Tua, and that's really exciting for him. Because at first, everyone thought they were gonna either draft a QB, trade for a QB, but just give Tua more weapons and see if he can use them at his disposal. Jamar Chase will really help out with that, and yeah, he is the best receiver in NFL already. So I really like this pick for the Dolphins.
Great pickup for the Dolphins too, like Ricky had said, that this guy is just a playmaker. From the last time we saw him back in 2019, 20 receiving touchdowns, over 1,700 receiving yards. This guy is the real deal. He's going to be able to provide a lot more help for Tua. And like you guys were saying, they could have went quarterback here, which was, the dark horse pick that, everyone was kind of saying. But you don't want to be drafting a quarterback every year and then still have no talent around him. So this is a great pick by Miami. He's going to be able to help out Tua in that offense, and they're only going to go up from here. They were 10-6 this past season. If you get Tua some help, you never know. This guy could be the limit for Miami. The Detroit Lions. I'm going to go ahead and AG, you have the Detroit Lions, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, AG, taking it over to you for the Detroit Lions selection.
All right. So with the number 7 overall pick, I got the Detroit Lions selecting Devontae Smith. I had Jamar Chase as
Ooh.
my number 1 on my big board, but they have to go with the second best receiver I think in the draft class, and that's Devontae Smith. I mean, a Heisman winner, really had a great, tremendous season this last season, and he can really change the offense for the Lions. They are in a rebuild mode, so having a number 1 receiver for Jared Goff is something to go with. Something to watch Kenny Galladay, but yeah, Devontae Smith is my pick.
Great pick, man. I mean, you're gonna talk about a guy who catches almost every pass that's thrown to him. It's Devontae Smith. He was in that Bama offense where I think 2019 when you had Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs, and Devontae Smith. Jerry Judy ran the best routes. Henry Ruggs had the best speed, but Devontae Smith literally would catch every pass you would throw to him. He's and we saw this back in 2017. He was a freshman, man. He caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship game. Really great ran fade route. Tua connected to him. Like, this guy's been, also NFL ready. I expect, to see some really good things from that guy, and that's a really great pickup too, considering that the Lions need help. But yeah, good pick by the Lions.
Yeah, definitely what you guys were just talking about, where this, Jamar Chase is obviously the number one, and then Devontae is going to be the number two best receiver in this class. But let's not forget, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. Okay. Everyone has doubted him. He's too skinny. He's not going to be able to take, SEC football. But hey, he's gone and he's proved that he can be an elite wide receiver. And like Ricky said, you know, the first memory I have of him was him catching that game winning touchdown pass against Georgia, which was unfortunate for me because I was rooting for Georgia in that game. But hey, this guy's gonna be really special. Obviously, he's probably gonna be putting on some weight. He'll hit the weight room, but regardless of his frame, he's gonna be something special because he definitely has that heart and that motor to go out and just play every week. And he's gonna surprise a lot of people who doubted him. And he's obviously a really talented receiver. It's gonna be a great pickup for Detroit. They haven't had so they had some talent at receiver, but you look at the last real true elite receiver that Detroit had is probably Calvin Johnson, and that's nothing against Kenny Galladay. He's a great wide receiver, but you think Calvin Johnson's a future Hall of Famer if he wasn't already inducted in the Hall of Fame, correct? He hasn't been inducted yet.
Yeah, he hasn't been inducted yet.
Nope, not
No,
yet.
but he is
Already,
he is
so yeah, sorry, AG. So yeah, so definitely slam dunk pick by the Detroit Lions. Alrighty, and so we have our first trade to announce. The Carolina Panthers are trading the eighth overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. I'm sorry, eighth overall pick to the Chicago Bears. So this was a trade that me and AG agreed to. So the Chicago Bears are now on the clock. Guys, you want to go ahead and try to see what the Chicago Bears might be thinking right here with the eighth overall pick?
man. So when we made this trade, I don't know what they're gonna do with this pick. Are they gonna go quarterback? Are they? I don't know because I mean, yeah, they signed Andy Dalton, and they said he's gonna be the starter, and he even said it too. But I don't know. You making this trade with me with the Panthers, I'm very intrigued to see who it's gonna be.
Yeah, man. I mean, it could be one of those Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith situations where you're gonna bring in a guy to mature and get ready. But yeah, it's a good trade, and yeah, I'm excited to see who it is.
Alrighty, so the pick is in for the Chicago Bears, and with the eighth overall selection, the Chicago Bears select Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. Okay, so everyone's been saying that Mac Jones is obviously one of the most pro-ready quarterbacks in this draft. He posted a 77 completion percentage his final year at Alabama, which is impressive. He's also had a great receiving core and a great offensive line to help him out, but he at the end of the day, he still got to deliver those passes, and he's thrown some pretty good footballs. From the tape I was watching against Georgia and from Ohio State, he's definitely a very accurate passer. He's not as mobile as you would like to see, but if you can still, if you can build an offense around him, I think he's a talented receiver. I personally didn't want to see him in a 49ers uniform, with the 49ers picking with that third pick. Hey, I might not agree with it, but I'm going to support it. But at the moment, I have the Bears selecting him. Like you guys said, Mike Glennon's going to be, or no, I'm sorry, not Mike Glennon. He was already signed a couple years ago. But Andy Dalton is going to be the quarterback. And the reason why I had Mike Glennon in my head was, hey, look at last time. The Bears signed Mike Glennon to a huge free agent contract only to draft Mitchell Trubisky in the same year. I think we might get that exact same situation where Andy Dalton's probably the starter for a year while Mac Jones can sit and learn. And eventually, Mac Jones will probably take over the starting QB job for the Chicago Bears. So we've had four quarterbacks taken in the top 10 so far. Very, very odd draft.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the pick, but I mean, if you're gonna have someone learn, I think I would have rather the Bears drafted Trey Lance.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think that would have been a better pick. They regretted the Patrick Mahomes pick years back. I mean, Patrick Mahomes should have gone number one, or sorry, number where
two.
did yeah, number two. Number two,
Number two.
um, I mean, having if you're gonna have someone learn, I think you would rather have the guy that has uh, the better ceiling and talent, and I think that's Trey Lance. But I mean, we'll see how this if this pick really does happen. I mean, it's not a bad pick, but I think we'd rather get Trey Lance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think with that system with Mike Nagy runs, I think I would have rather taken Trey Lance. But hey, man, you said it also. Mac Jones is definitely NFL ready. He has a great arm, great confidence. It's just a matter of learning, and like you said, he'll probably sit out a year behind Andy Dalton and just learn. But you know, yeah, I would have taken Trey Lance, but hey, man, it's the NFL draft. You never know what to expect. Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder where Trey Lance is gonna go in this mock draft. Like since he hasn't gone yet, someone's bound to take him. Hopefully soon.
Alrighty, it looks like the pick is in for the Denver Broncos. Ricky, I'm taking it over to you for the Broncos selection.
and all right, and with the ninth overall pick in the draft, I have the Broncos drafting Micah Parsons, the linebacker out of Penn State. Now, guys, you
Okay.
know, I watched a lot of tape, a lot of highlights on this guy, and this guy, I think, is the best linebacker in this draft class. From what I've studied and seen from him, he just he looks like an overall just silent a sideline linebacker, like your modern day NFL linebacker. And to top it off, he's a great blitzing linebacker. He knows how to just get into the backfield in the nick of time and make plays in the backfield and second quarterbacks. Opted out this last season, I believe. But you go back to that 2019 season. I mean, the guy had about 109 tackles. He had four forced fumbles, 5 sacks. I mean, the guy's a monster, man. I think he's really NFL ready, and he's gonna add on great help to that Broncos defense. That you already have Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and a good addition to the front seven, man. So yeah, I'm excited to see this pick.
Yeah, that's a great.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
AG.
that's a great pick for the Broncos. Just adding on more talent to that Denver Broncos defense. He is the best linebacker in this draft. I mean, sideline to sideline. Um, he'll be a really great leader in that defense, and it's going to be a really great career in that Denver Broncos on that Denver Broncos team.
Yeah, I think this is a pick where, Micah Parsons could have probably gotten a little higher. Obviously, the ninth pick is still pretty high, top 10 pick, but he could have also gone fourth to Atlanta. But I think, some of the character concerns are a big thing for him. We've seen, guys like this, before where Reuben Foster was supposed to be a top 10 pick, and then he had some issues at the combine. He fell. And then we had the former Cincinnati Bengals linebacker. Can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Montez perfect.
From out of a yes, correct. Yeah, he was also supposed to be a first round pick. He had some character concerns, so obviously there's some things that if a GM is comfortable with Micah Parsons, and and they've done their research, and he's going to be a gifted linebacker for years to come. So this is a very high risk, high reward type of pick. Good pick for the Broncos, like you said. This is going to help out their defense. The defense wins championships for sure. So I can definitely see this pick happening for Denver. Great selection. Alrighty, and it looks like the pick is in for the Dallas Cowboys. And with the 10th overall pick, I have the Dallas Cowboys selecting J.C. Horn, the cornerback out of South Carolina. First of all, 6'1", 200 pounds, got a 33-inch arms. He is, after Patrick Surtain, the next best corner in this draft class. Same thing as Patrick Surtain. He's gone through the gauntlet in the SEC. He about he's been starting for South Carolina for quite a few years now. His talented, athletic. There was a lot of people saying that him or Caleb Farley could have been the number two corner. Farley obviously opted out this past season, so we might not sure what to expect from him this upcoming season. But J.C. Horn really stepped up this year for South Carolina, and he was, not only just a gifted athlete, but he's an excellent coverage guy. A little bit concerned with his hand placement. He tries to use his hands a little bit too much, and he's gotten away with it in college. So that's got to be something he cleans up in the NFL because they're going to be calling a lot of pass interference calls. But then this is going to be a great pick for the Dallas Cowboys. They really needed help on defense. They could have also gone offensive line or defensive line, but you pair him up with the corner that the Cowboys picked last year. This is going to be a pretty solid defensive backfield for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, great pick. He is just. I think it's 1A and 1B with Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn. Um, you can't go wrong with both picks. I think they're just like the most NFL ready cornerbacks. And J.C. Horn, man, he's gonna do great for that Dallas Cowboys defense. Dallas Cowboys fans should be very excited for that. Um, I don't know if he's gonna be like a Deion Sanders for them again, but I mean J.C. Horn, man, he's gonna make a name for himself, and he's just gonna blossom into a really great NFL player.
Yeah, good pick, man. Jesse Horn, he's very physical, like you were saying. He's a physical cornerback. He's not afraid to come lay the lumber on a couple of receivers, man. This guy, you know, he's tends to run a lot of. I saw from what I watched, he runs a lot of like press, and likes to get his hands on the receivers, like you were saying. And yeah, it'll be exciting to see what he's able to do in that Cowboys defense. That obviously needed help, but good pick in J.C. Horn.
With the 11th overall selection is going to be the New York Giants. And AG, I'm taking it over to you for the next pick.
So with the Giants at number 11, I got him taking Kwity Paye. I saw him, I saw a lot of film on this guy out of Michigan. He's great at both the pass and the run. He keeps his eyes up, reads the play very well, and that's what you want out of a young defensive player if you're picking so high with this like a top 15 pick. Um, he doesn't over pursue on the ball. He does his job very well. He'll do his job first, then he'll go after the ball. And then I think I really like that out of a defensive player. You got a guy that does his job first, then he just goes after and makes a play on the ball. And he's I think he's the most solid edge rusher in this draft, and I think the Giants need something to, boost that defense up a little bit more. So I think this pick will be very well for them, and I think he'll pan out really well in the NFL, and they should be excited for this pick.
Yeah, great pick for the New York Giants. Again, he's a nasty edge rusher. Him and the edge rusher from Georgia, Aziz, can't pronounce his last name at the moment, but hey, they're definitely, 1 and 2 for the best edge rushers in this draft. I've seen some tape from him against Notre Dame, and he started off slow at first, but then he started picking it up, and you can tell as the game went along, he didn't slow down. He actually got better towards, towards the third and fourth quarter, and that just, shows that this guy is a high motor guy. He won't quit, and obviously, I think he's definitely one of the best edge rushers in this draft class, like you said, AG. And without a doubt, this is a great pick from the Giants, starting to shore up their defense because they hit free agency with a lot of receivers, and they already helped around their offense, and this is a good pick for their defense.
Yeah, man. Good. He's a good, yeah, like you were saying, good edge player. Very was able to pick it up, and more discipline is I think what we saw from him. It's just learning your assignment, and he does assignment football at its best. And he's going to be a great help to that defense. Alongside with Leonard Williams. You're going to have a little bit of a chaos with that D line. So good pick, man. Good pick.
Alrighty, it looks like the 12th pick for the Philadelphia Eagles is in, and then AG taking it back over to you for the Eagles
All
pick.
right, so the Philadelphia Eagles traded with Miami for this pick. and I had them selecting Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. Um, I know he's a little undersized, and but I think he's the third best receiver in this draft class, and Philly's been dying for another receiver, man. The fans been asking for it. It's just been very horrendous, especially with this last season. The guy's underperforming at the receiver position. I mean, you got a guy at uh, who played quarterback, going at receiver, in Greg Ward, and I mean, he did very well. No respect to him, but they just need another receiver, and I think Jalen Waddle brings something to the table. He might have to be groomed a little bit, but I think he's, I think he'll be a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Ricky, I'll let you take this
yeah,
one. Sorry.
you want to get him some help? Go get him probably one of the fastest players in college football. Jalen Waddle, man. He can blow by cornerbacks and defensive backs, and just he's a deep ball threat because of that speed, man. And like you said, size is an issue, but playmaking is not an issue for that guy. He's despite his size, he will make plays and he will find a way to get open and make a huge impact. So yeah, really good pick up for the Eagles. Like you said, that we're lagging help on the wide receiver department. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see Jalen Waddle. Man, Jalen Waddle is one of those players that you anticipate a huge play coming from him, and I believe he's gonna make a couple of them with this Philly offense, man.
Yeah, interesting selection because I just realized Kyle Pitts is still on the board. And, obviously the Eagles already have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goddard. Great pickup still, obviously, like AG said. They have a former quarterback as one of their top receivers on the depth chart in Greg Ward. They also have Khalil Tate, the former Arizona quarterback, as a wide receiver. So not too, not too confident in them having two former college quarterbacks as receivers on their depth chart. They also got Jalen Rager and Travis Fulgham, which not really inspiring to Eagles fans. So this is still a great pick for the Eagles.
Yeah, I
This is going to help out their offense by
yeah,
far.
I mean, I did notice that Kyle Pitts is still on the board, but I was even thinking of this when I was going over this selection, and I had to think of Zach Ertz and Dallas Goddard, but they just really need help at the receiver position. But hey, Kyle Pitts is athletic enough to play wherever he wants, man. So I don't know, but it's crazy that him and Trey Lance are still on the board right now.
This is the NFL draft, right? Unexpected things can happen. I don't think that he's gonna fall this far realistically, but hey, like you guys said, it's the NFL draft. Things can happen, you know. And so it looks like okay, we have the Chargers on the clock still, and the pick is in for the Chargers. Okay, let's see. So for the 13th overall selection, I had the San Diego Chargers selecting Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle from Northwestern. Obviously, Kyle Pitts is still on the board. He would have helped out great with, Herbert. But at the end of the day, you have to shore up the offensive line first than anything. They lost a few guys from free agency. They signed Corey Linsley from the Packers to help out with, but at the end of the day, they still have the huge hole at left tackle, and Rashawn Slater's the next best available offensive tackle on the board, and that's saying that's not saying that he's as less talented as Penny Sewell, because obviously Rashawn Slater is still a really athletic offensive tackle. We've seen from his pro day, and I remember back when the Niners still had this pick, we were talking about maybe getting Slater at this selection because he's just such a talented offensive tackle. And I think that I would have loved to draft Kyle Pitts here, but the Chargers need to help shore up the offensive line first, and Slater's going to be my pick here.
Yeah, so it's Jesus Christ, who's the pick again, dude? I forgot.
Rashawn Slater.
I drafted Rashawn Slater.
Right, Rashawn Slater. Guys, I mean, this is gonna be one of the more physical offensive tackles that this that the league is probably gonna see, man. This guy is he's a dog, man. He's athletic for his size, man. To be that agile, and just you know that athletic at the tackle position, it's impressive to see, man. And we saw a couple of his pro day highlights, and we were just like, damn, that would be nice to have on the Niners. And but it's gonna be a good pickup, and but like I said, one of the more physical offensive tackles this league is gonna see. And yeah, great pick, man.
Yeah, great pick. Like you said it best. He's the most, you know, physical offensive tackle in this draft. I saw a great montage of him, lifting some crazy weight and just getting pumped up. I wanted the Niners to take, this pick if we didn't sign Trent Williams. But we did, and we traded away the pick. But hey, I like this pick. I like the lineman, and he's gonna have a great career.
All right. Well, the Minnesota Vikings are currently still on the clock. That's for Ricky's team. So we'll just take a second. So, yeah. So, some of the best remaining free agents, not free agents, but some of the best remaining prospects on the board are Kyle Pitts, Trey Lance, Christian Darrisaw, Elijah Vera Tucker, to name a few. Then we still have Caleb Farley, Jalen Phillips, Jeremiah Wosu, Kamara are still all on the board. So, still some talent. And then for receiver help, we got Rashad Bateman and Elijah Moore still on the board. And a sneaky pick, I think, that could be a first round guy is Terrence Marshall Jr. from LSU. I think he's going to be a sneaky first round selection. He's going to probably have that same production that Justin Jefferson had this past season. Terrence Marshall, don't sleep on this guy. He is still, he's also a very athletically gifted wide receiver. I watched some tape on him, and I feel like he might be a guy that sneaks into the first round for sure. Alrighty, and it looks like the pick is in for Minnesota. Ricky, taking it over to you.
In the draft, I have the Minnesota Vikings drafting Jalen Phillips, defensive end out of Miami. Guys, this guy, you want to talk about a guy getting off the ball and getting into the backfield from 0 to 1 fast? It's Jalen Phillips, man. This guy is a monster. I don't, he kind of gives me that Nick Bosa vibe, man. I mean, just as he gets in the backfield so fast, and you gotta sometimes you're gonna have to double team this guy. We remember those great Minnesota defensive lines, back in 2017 when they had all those pass rushers and stuff. Guys, this guy's gonna be able to fit in perfectly because they need help on that defensive line, and Jalen Phillips, I think, can just give him that boost. I feel like he's gonna be making a huge impact. Like I said, like Nick Bosa did when he was a rookie, right in week 1. Expect to see this guy making a lot of big plays, and yeah, I'm excited for this pick.
Yeah, great pick. Um, really help out the team, and yeah, I like it.
And really solid selection. Obviously, this is a guy who transferred over from UCLA. Didn't expect much from him because of Gregory Rousseau being on the team, but then he opted out, and Jalen Phillips kind of took over as that, main edge rusher for Miami, and he exploded onto the scene. This guy is an explosive edge rusher. Really went, like I already said, he took his game to a whole other level in Miami. And he's not he's not like the biggest guy, but obviously, off season in the weight room for in the NFL is going to help him a lot. He's fast. He's a very solid edge rusher, very talented pick. I'm sorry, very talented player, and it's a great pick. It looks like the 15th overall selection is in. All right, Ricky, I'm taking it over to you for this pick.
Thank you, Rod. And with the 15th overall pick in the NFL draft this year, the New England Patriots select Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State. All right, guys. It's set up beautifully for this guy. Why? Because I think Cam Newton is signed to a 1-year contract, right? This guy, sky is the limit, I think, for this guy. You know, you want to talk about a guy who I think he could have that Patrick Mahomes impact and just because he plays like a little like Patrick Mahomes. Has a great arm. He makes plays with his feet when he has to, and I know Rod, I give him a lot of shit for being Tim Tebow 2.0, but he is, man. I mean, but we got to remember, Tim Tebow was a hell of a runner, dude. Like,
Yeah,
it's not an insult to the guy. It's more like Tim Tebow was, to me, Tim Tebow was the greatest college football player of all time. And so when I compare him to that, it's like, dude, he's good, man. This guy's gonna be able to learn a lot behind Cam in one season, and then when he becomes a starter, you know, next year we're gonna see a huge jump and huge progress made because he's gonna be able to learn from Cam, who's again just like him, a player that's just like him. Cam running between the tackles, great arm. It's set up beautifully for Trey Lance, man. He couldn't go into a better situation than to go to the New England Patriots.
yeah. For him to drop like so far down in this draft, um, I mean, this will be a dream pick for the Patriots fans. I mean, you get a guy that can just sit down and get groomed by a really great quarterback ahead of him, but also by one of the greatest coaches of all time in Bill Belichick. I mean, this team is set up to win this season. They have a lot of they did a lot of free agency signings. They were the first team to do some blockbuster signings. But to have Trey Lance sit behind Cam Newton and learn from Bill Belichick, it's going to be a great situation for him. I mean, I'm excited if he ever gets a chance to play, and it's just going to be a great situation for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you guys, and I tried really hard to like not pick Trey Lance at number 3 to the 49ers because I could still see it, happening. Obviously, Justin Fields was my pick, and Trey Lance fell, pretty far after that. But that's not a knock on him. He's still got a really good arm. He's athletic, and you guys have said it all. He's going to be in a good situation in New England where he can sit and learn for a year. And I think I've been saying that too. He's got to learn for a season because he didn't really have that many games at North Dakota State. He redshirted his freshman year, started his redshirt freshman year, and then he only had one game this past season, which was the showcase. So not a lot of games under his belt, especially the fact that he also played in the FCS, quite a few games, and then it was against FCS competition. So you would like to have him sit and learn, and but this is going to be a guy that once he's ready, you know, and he's ready and he's in a good system, we might see another Patrick Mahomes out of him, which is scary because if the Patriots are picking the next Patrick Mahomes, this is something that's going to be, hey, the Patriots are going to continue their winning ways, and it might be a little annoying, of course, but this is going to be, a great pick by Bill Belichick if this does happen. I can see the Patriots going ahead and getting a quarterback, whether it's going to be round 1 or round 2, realistically, because Cam's not, getting any younger, and there was only a 1 year deal that he signed, so they're obviously going to go ahead and you know get a guy to be his backup, and this is a great pick for New England. Alrighty, it looks like the pick is in for the Arizona Cardinals, and this is a no-brainer. The Cardinals, they need some help on the defensive backfield, linebackers, offensive line, but another position of need is the wide receiver position. And with the 16th overall pick, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting Kyle Pitts. Obviously, this is a no-brainer pick. Kyle Pitts, I know, was a tight end, but he can also flex out to receiver like he's done in college. And it's incredible how far he slid in this draft. But if I'm the Cardinals, I'm running up to the podium to make this pick. He's going to fit really well in Cliff Kingsbury's air raid offense. It just gives Kyler Murray another weapon to be able to throw to. DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I think Larry Fitzgerald, he's slowing down by a lot already. He's nearing 40 years old. So to get another dynamic playmaker for that offense, it's going to keep defensive coordinators up at night. So imagining Kyle Pitts in that Arizona offense is going to be scary, especially the fact that we're going to have to play them twice a year. But I think this is a no-brainer pick for the Cardinals if Kyle Pitts is still on the board at 16.
Great pickup, man. I had a feeling he was gonna go next because we were talking about him and Trey Lance, sliding down, and we're like, these guys are eventually gonna have to get picked. and it's a good pickup. In this Cliff Kingsbury system, you're gonna need wide receiver production, and yeah, like you said, he's a tight end, but he can play wide receiver too. He's gonna be one of those Travis Kelsey guys. He's gonna play a lot of wide receiver, and he's gonna have a lot of impact plays, man. I mean, this is a guy who is a red zone threat, man. He's look for him to be throwing a couple fade routes to the corner of the end zone and just catch him, because he's that good. I actually wanted the Niners to try to go after Kyle Pitts. I was thinking like, man, that'd be cool. Then I should get that guy. But great pickup, for that system, and yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, great pick. I mean, you know, yeah, he is listed as a tight end, like you guys said. But people are saying he is the number two player in this draft. Athletically, he can do anything he wants, man. He, I believe he can play receiver if he wants to, and just like an added weapon to the Arizona Cardinals, man. Who they just signed AJ Green, right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Correct.
Kyle Pitts gets to learn behind DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, AJ Green, who were all at one point number one receivers in the NFL. This like Kyle Pitts would do wonders in this offense, and those guys will help him out with a lot. And it's gonna be scary for the Niners, but hey, this is a great overall pick for the Arizona Cardinals.
It looks like the 17th overall pick for the Raiders is in. AG taking it over to you.
All right, with the 17th overall pick, I have the Raiders selecting Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State University. This guy, this is probably a surprise pick for a lot of people, but I like this guy. Um, he's just violent off the ball. He's a violent player. Um, he doesn't have the arm length as you want for an offensive tackle, but I think just the way he plays and just how great he is off the ball, I think it will really kind of take that over of not having the long arms you want from an offensive tackle. But you put this guy in, man, just having like that Raider attitude that everyone likes, so just hard nosed football. I think he's gonna be fit really well. He's gonna do really great in this offense, and that's who I like at this pick.
Go ahead, Ricky.
So yeah, Tevin Jenkins is, I'm gonna call him, yeah, a professional bully, because this guy gets off the ball and just you know it's a rare talent, when it comes to Tevin Jenkins. It's up there with the I would have had him up there also with Christian Darrisaw, but it's a great pickup, man, because the Raiders do need help on the offensive line side, and but they couldn't have asked for a better pickup than Mr. Tevin
A
Jenkins
very
from Oklahoma
violent
State.
offensive tackle. I just have this funny little thing that if you look at his draft profile picture, it's just like him in the glasses. Kind of reminds me of like a Rodrigo Blankenship. You look at him and you don't really think like, is that really a football player, or is that just someone who snuck into the team photos? But you put on the tape and wow, like you guys said, he is a very aggressive offensive tackle. Obviously, a very underrated guy in this draft class for sure. He's probably going to fall a little bit, but that's not due to his play. That's just due to the fact that this is such a defensive heavy draft, and there's also a lot of other really good offensive tackles ahead of him with Penny Sewell and Rashawn Slater. But hey, don't take this guy for granted. He's played a lot of games for Oklahoma State. He's a very solid blocker, and he was part of the reason why Chuba Hubbard was such a great running back for Oklahoma State, was because he was a nasty blocker for the right side. Alrighty, and we're just awaiting the Miami Dolphins pick at the moment. Still taking a look at who's on the board right now. Christian Darrisaw is still on the board. Elijah Vera Tucker is still on the board. Then up next you have Caleb Farley, Jeremiah Wusu Kamara from Notre Dame, the outside linebacker. Greg Newsome, the second from Northwestern. Aziz Ojolari from Georgia. Christian Barmore, which Ricky, I know you and I were talking about him last night. Zevin Collins from Tulsa, Tavern Morig from TCU, the safety, and then, like I said previously, a couple of receivers still on the board. We got Rashad Bateman and Terrence Marshall Jr., but also Rondell Moore, who's surprisingly fallen a little bit on draft boards. Obviously, his size at 5'7" is good concern for some teams, but still very, very fast receiver. Great production out of Purdue. If he's not a first round pick, he's definitely a high second round pick because in the right offense, this guy is, he's a slot receiver. He's quick and he's going to make a team very happy, which whoever picks him in in the first or second round. And
Yeah, I think if he's still there for the Packers pick, I think that'll be a great
yeah,
pick for them because they really do need some receiver help. Because Devontae Adams can't do it all the time by himself. They really missed that help this last season, and it's probably something that could have helped them get to the Super Bowl. Honestly, so I mean, to pick him at that spot would be really great for them.
another interesting guy who's still on the board is Gregory Rousseau, the edge rusher from Miami. I know his teammate Jalen Phillips already went off the board. We saw Quiddy Payne from Michigan go off the board already. So we've seen two dynamic edge rushers off the board, and I think the opt out was kind of hurt Gregory Rousseau's stock more than anything because I know teams would have loved to see him still this past season. So obviously, the opt out might have hurt his draft stock a little bit because you look at this guy before the season started, he was supposed to be a top 10 pick, even top five possibly. So it's just unfortunate
Mm.
that we're seeing him fall not only in our mock draft, but potentially in the real life NFL draft.
Yeah, I think Aziz Ojolari too is a really big surprise of him dropping so much. I mean, if a good offensive tackle wasn't there for the Raiders, I had him going second, uh, behind Tevin Jenkins. Just them being someone on the edge. I mean, yeah, I know they have Yannick Ngoku off that signing, but I mean, to have added depth, man, he's someone that needs some grooming done. I was watching film on him when I was watching Kawhi Pay, and he's a great pass rusher. He just doesn't have, the eyes like Kwity Pay does. He can't read a play right. He needs to work on the run, but he is fast off the ball, and it just really surprising he's going this far down.
Alrighty, it looks like the Miami Dolphins selection is in. Ricky, taking it over to you for the 18th overall pick.
All right, and with the 18th overall pick, I have the Miami Dolphins drafting Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky. So I was looking at a couple. I was like watching some tape on Jamin Davis, and this guy is not only a good inside linebacker that could be an inside the box tackler, but he can also play a little bit on the edge, man. Um, he's very good in coverage, whether it's man or zone coverage. But he can also he's really good at reading quarterbacks' eyes, which is something that really stood out to me. And I don't think a lot of us had that name going. In the first round is Jamin Davis, this linebacker. But again, also even on the blitzes, man, he's another good blitzing linebacker that can find a way to dip and rip on some offensive lineman and get in the backfield. So that's why I decided to go with Jamin Davis going to the Dolphins at 18. Yeah, at 18.
And the Miami Dolphins, if I'm correct, they run a 4-3 defense.
Correct.
And yeah, so this is great pickup for Miami because they are going to need some linebacker help. And Davis hasn't put up a lot in college. I believe he hasn't. I think this past year is when we saw the most production out of him. But he's still a long kind of rangy linebacker who's like you said, Ricky, great blitzer. He's explosive he's explosive on his blitzes. Uh, like I said, hasn't really shown a lot until this past season. I think that's why he's not rated as the top linebacker in this draft class. But scheme fit is exactly the 4-3 defense for Miami. A great fit for him. I think I see him probably as the weak side linebacker at first for his rookie season, and then go from there. But this is going to be a guy who could possibly be a leader for that Miami defense in the next couple years. A solid pickup for Miami.
Yeah, I'm very surprised with this pick. Personally, I would have went with Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. Um, I would think he would fit better in that defense because I mean, you look at the Niners defense, they run the same thing at 4-3, and you got guys like Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, and Aziz Al Shair, and you put Jeremiah Owusu Kimura alongside with them, and I think he would have been a better fit in that 4-3. He's like a silent to silent kind of guy, but hey, if scheme fit wise, if you guys think he fits better, um, hey, it's going to be a good pick.
Alrighty, and we are just currently waiting on the Washington football team's selection right now. I could have also seen a quarterback go off the board right here for the Washington football team, but obviously we've already had some of the top quarterbacks already go off the board, and they also signed Ryan Fitzpatrick for this offseason. So I don't think, quarterback's going to be the pick here, but let's see. Alrighty, it looks like the pick is in for the Washington football team. Ricky, taking it over to you.
Yeah, and with the 19th overall pick in the draft, I have the Washington football team drafting Trayvon Morig, that safety out of TCU. I mean, this guy is he gives me that no fly zone Michigan State old defense vibe, man. This guy he's a ball hawk when it comes to safety, man. He finds ways to you know to play really good man coverage on receivers. Even though they put him in some tough situations, but he finds the ball. He finds the ball, and not only that, man, he is physical. He comes up and he lays the wood, man. For a safety to react that fast and know where the ball is going, it's impressive. And so, it's I think it'll be a good pickup. It'll be a good help for that Washington football team, who already has a really good defense as it is. But it'll add on more help in the secondary. And yeah, I have Trayvon Moore going to the Washington football team.
Yeah, having that good front seven really does help. The secondary. You know, if you already have a great player in the secondary, but you have an even better front seven, that's going to make that player good. And especially for young guys, and with this pick, man, he's going to fit in really well with his defense. Just going to boost him up to another level. Um, I really do like this pick, and it's just going to be more added help for the Washington football team, and probably even another playoff run again.
Yeah, great pickup for the Washington football team. They do need some DB help, which is why I see you made this pick, Ricky. But hey, like you said, I think he's a very underrated safety. We've had some great defensive backs in this draft class. It's a very defensive back heavy draft class, and just looking at some of his film, like you said, he's explosive, he's fast, and he will go up and hit somebody. He's not one of those safeties who's those pretty boys who's only going to go back and drop back in coverage and be not much of a tackler. He is aggressive, and he will come up and make a play. There was this he had a great game against Louisiana Tech this past season. Obviously, they were blowing them out. I think it was like towards I think they put up like 50 on them, and he was making plays all. That was the film I watched, and he was making plays all over the field that game. This is a very aggressive safety, great coverage still, and this is going to help out that Washington football team's defense even more, because Chase Young that they got this last season, it was already a great defensive lineman. If you can get great defensive line and great defensive backfield, it's kind of like what the 49ers were building a few years ago, then this is a great pickup for the Washington football team. And alrighty, and let's see. Looks like the Carolina Panthers are currently on the board. We still have a couple very talented offensive tackles left. We have Christian Darrisaw on the board, Elijah Vera Tucker still on the board, Caleb Farley, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech, is also currently available. So those are our three highest rated guys still on the board. And this is a pick that we made the trade for. Originally, the Bears were supposed to be picking here at 20, but me and AG made the trade. So now the Panthers are picking here at 20. They were presumed to draft a quarterback with their eighth overall pick until they went out and made a trade for Sam Darnold. Not sure why, you know, they would trade for Sam Darnold. I don't think he's, at least they didn't trade a first round pick for him, but I don't think that Sam Darnold is a truly gifted quarterback. But I could be wrong, and Carolina could prove me wrong here. But let's see. All right, looks like the pick is in for the Carolina Panthers. AG, taking it over to you.
All right, so with the Panthers at the number 20 overall pick, I got them selecting Elijah Vera Tucker. They, I think it's very, it would help Sam Darnold, to build a good offensive line. I mean, you have Martin at, the left tackle, but, just just put Elijah Vera Tucker at right tackle. I think he'll be very well. He's very athletic, uh, has good feet. Again, arms are very short, but I don't think that matters because, just him being a good football player off the ball and just very sound at what he does, it's not going to very hurt him very much. So, I have Elijah Vera Tucker going at number 20 to the Panthers.
Good pickup, man. He's really dominant in the run game. He's one of those tackles that gets up to the second level and just manhandles linebackers, man. It's good. He's very NFL ready in that way. But also in the passing game, man, he knows how to stay his ground and stay square with defenders, and it's a huge help. And so it's gonna be a good pickup. Very he actually had him, you know, going soon too. But yeah, the Bears can use the help, and he fits in perfectly.
Yeah, and then this is a guy who can also play inside too. We've seen him in college. This guy has plenty of experience. He's had, 400 snaps at left tackle for USC, and he's got about over 1,000 snaps at the both guard positions at both left and right guard. So he can definitely play left tackle, or he can also play guard for Carolina if they needed him to. And you are right, AG. Taylor Martin is the one of the offensive tackles for the Carolina Panthers, and then for their other tackle is Greg Little. So I can definitely see him probably going inside for his rookie season. I'm not sure who exactly they have left guard. I know they have Pat Eflin at right guard from the former New York Giants guard. Matt Paradis from the Denver Broncos. At the moment, Dennis Daly is the starting left guard for the Carolina Panthers. I haven't seen much of him, but haven't really heard of him either. So I think that he can probably compete for that left guard spot. He's definitely very talented former four-star recruit, uh, very physical run blocker, and I would like to see him a little bit more in the pass game. I think for sure, but his feet are smooth enough that he's going to be able to transition really well in the next level. Alrighty, and with the 21st selection, the Indianapolis Colts pick is in. Taking it over to you, Ricky.
And with the 21st overall pick in the draft, the Indianapolis Colts select De'Ami Brown, wide receiver out of North Carolina. So
Wow,
I took a look at a couple of wide receivers that we still
Really?
have left on the board. Obviously, we have a couple good ones. Terrace
Yeah.
Marshall and Rashad Bateman. But guys, I look at De'Ami Brown. This guy can fit in perfectly with Carson Wentz and that Philly and that sorry that Indianapolis offense. This guy's a deep ball threat, man, and he's a speedster. If you look at it, if you get the chance to look at some of his tape, he knows how to separate from cornerbacks easily. He has really great hands and really great footwork, which is essentially what a good wide receiver is going to need in the NFL. And this guy he just has something special to him. You know, I'm pretty sure that not a lot of us are looking at him to go in the first round. You know, a lot of people are having to maybe go in the third round or not. But this guy is he's a good deep ball threat. I like what I see from him, and I think that he's going to fit in perfectly with Carson Wentz and the rest. Matter of fact, the rest of that Indianapolis offense.
See any film on him? So because this was a really surprising pick for me because I had not seen anything from him. For North Carolina, I was kind of focused on Michael Carter and Javante Williams, both the running backs from them. So I'm not quite familiar with his work, but hey, another added weapon for Carson Wentz could definitely help out. Michael Pittman Jr. is obviously a really good receiver for the Colts. So I think getting Carson Wentz another receiver can definitely help out. Like the more the merrier for that offense. And it's like I said, I have not seen any film on this guy yet, so I would have to get back to you on that one, Ricky, maybe on the next podcast for sure. But, already interesting pick. And we have the Tennessee Titans on the board right now. Let's see. So the Tennessee Titans, it's going to be Ricky's pick again. Uh, And so looking over for a couple guys that are still on the board, Jeremiah Wusu Kimura is still on the board. Greg Newsom, the cornerback out of Northwestern, Aziz Ojolari still on the board, and one of the biggest names that's still on the board is Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle for Virginia Tech. He's still on the board. All right, and it looks like the pick is in for the Tennessee Titans. Ricky, taking it over to you.
And with the 22nd overall pick in the draft, the Tennessee Titans select Javon Holland, cornerback out of Oregon. So this is another one of those defensive backs that we were talking about. That is another ball hawk, man. This guy finds the ball. He's not afraid to play on an island, like which is like what most cornerbacks are. You're on an island when you're out there, and he's not afraid of it. He always finds a way to get in a good position to make a play on the ball, not just the receiver, but on the ball. And it's a bit of a good trait for him, man. And the Titans need a little help. I believe they lost Dory Jackson and Malcolm Butler, which are some of their guys in the recent couple of years. And so Javon Holland can fill in that role and be a good ball hawk for that defense.
Right, he can play corner, safety, especially. He's got a good frame at 6'1", a little under 200 pounds, and like I said, he can be very versatile. He can play corner, he can play safety. Uh, Being an Oregon fan, I've gotten to see him play, quite a bit, and this guy's ball skills are incredible. He's got a great awareness on the field. He'll go up and he'll make a play on the run. The run isn't, his first instinct to do. He will go up and do it, but uh, I think improving in the run game has got to be something for him. But other than that, his coverage is, he's a pretty good cover guy. I think he's more of an athlete than he is, any kind of like pass coverage or run guy. He's just an all-around great athlete, and I think that's going to help out Tennessee's defense a lot more in the future.
Yeah, I mean them losing some help at in the secondary. This pick sounds really good for the Titans. Really, help out with the losses they had in free agency, and yeah, great overall pick.
All right, looks like the Jets are on the clock right now at 23. That's going to be AG's pick again. So just a reminder of some of the picks here. As I already previously mentioned, Christian Darrisaw still on the board. Caleb Farley. I could definitely see the Jets maybe going offensive tackle here, or even a surprise pick. They might go running back, which is we've seen a couple mock drafts have for the Jets. So we'll be able to see shortly which who's AG's pick here at 23rd.
All right. So with the 23rd overall pick, I got the Jets selecting Najee Harris, the first running back to go off the board I mean, Najee Harris, just an all around great running back. I mean, as you know, standing at 6'2", 200, 200 pounds. I mean, this guy is just a bulldozer, man. He can run you over. He's fast. He's agile. You know, I mean, to have, you know, to pair a great quarterback along with a great running back, I mean, this offense is going to be really dangerous. And, you know, it's going to be really exciting to see what LaFleur does with this offense. But, you know, adding a great running back, and we see what, you know, the Niners never selected great running backs. You know, they always got, you know, undrafted guys or whatever. But I mean, to draft someone that's really solid will just add even a more threat dimension to this offense.
Right, and I've been following Najee Harris since his freshman year since his freshman year at Alabama. I followed him on Instagram after he committed to Alabama. I can't remember why exactly, but I've been following him since his freshman year, and he's only gotten better. Freshman year, he's had 300 rushing yards. Then it just, doubled that. He had a little under 800 his sophomore year, and then he finally broke into the 1,000 rushing yards his junior and senior year. He had 26 total touchdowns his final year at Alabama. He's a big guy. He's 6'2", 230 pounds. So, and with that frame, he could definitely be a power runner, or and it's surprising because he can also play some zone. He can be definitely a really good zone running back. So he's got that because he's got that great combination of strength and speed, so he can fit in any offense despite the frame that he has. And this, New York Jets, man, they definitely needed some help. Le'Veon Bell was supposed to be that running back one for them for years to come, and it didn't work out. I can't, think of any talented running backs on the Jets. Not to say that there's no talented, because, right, that's a poor choice of words. But I don't see a true running back one in this New York Jets backfield right now, and I think Najee Harris is a great pick for them.
Great, great pick, Rod. You said you've been following this guy since his freshman year in college. I was following this guy back since his senior year in high school because we're in the same high school class. And God, because you go on Max Preps and you see highlights of guys, of the guys that you're gonna play, the way we would. But I saw this guy. I was like Antioch High School. I'm like, first of all, where the hell is Antioch? So I looked it up, and it's up in Concord and all that. And there was a game that they played against De La Salle. He got flagged twice for hurdling. You can't hurdle in high school football in California, I guess. He hurdled twice, man. And from that on, I'm like, God damn, this guy's big. Because a lot of people were starting to compare him to Derrick Henry. That big, tall frame, heavy running back. So I was like, God, who is this guy? And yeah, he committed to Alabama. Then he commits to Alabama, and in the national championship game his freshman year against Georgia, he broke out for a couple runs. And I'm like, man, this guy's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem. And sure enough, in the years after, he was a star in that Alabama offense. Man, he is, for his size, man. He's fast to start off, and then like you said, he's strong. He's not afraid to run. He's not afraid to run through you. Not afraid to to get physical and press protection as well. So Najee Harris is definitely NFL ready. I expect him to be the Week 1 starter for the New York Jets. And yeah, happy, good selection, man.
Alrighty, it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers are currently on the clock, and that's going to be Ricky's selection again. The Pittsburgh Steelers were 12-4 this past season. They started off hot at 10-0, and then their first loss of the season came against the Washington Football Team, and after that, they kind of just spiraled down. We know they had some, on the field distractions with Juju Smith-Schuster with his TikTok dances. I assumed that he probably wasn't gonna re-sign with them, so I was surprised when he did. Pittsburgh, right now, they definitely need to find that next answer for Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, or they can go and help out their offensive line because they lost quite a few guys, especially Alejandro Villanueva. Uh, Recently got released by the Steelers, so we could see quarterback, some offensive line help, and already, let's see. Already, looks like the pick is in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ricky, go ahead, take it away.
All right. And with the 24th pick in the NFL draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Kyle Trask, quarterback out of Florida. So there was a lot of debate on this guy, whether he's going to be a good NFL quarterback, whether he's not going to be a good NFL quarterback. Guys, we were talking about it. Ben Roethlisberger was showing last year that it's almost time. I don't even know why he resigned. In the first place, like Ben, you got nothing else to prove, man. Just hang it up, hang it up. But he came back, and you know what? Thank God he came back because Kyle Trask is gonna have a good mentor to learn from, and Ben Roethlisberger. This guy, you know, we have a lot of questions about him. There's a lot of things where we're not so sure about. But the one thing that I am sold on about him is the vision and just the touch on the ball that he has, and just he plays with some kind of confidence too, man. He you know it's when he was throwing a lot to Kyle Pitts, especially against Texas A&M this last season, you can just tell that he had the confidence, to deliver some throws. He's not a big board name like we all had, like with all the early picks, but I definitely think that this guy can fill in the shoes for Ben Roethlisberger and yeah, possibly be the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that makes five quarterbacks that gone in the first round so far, which I did not expect the Kyle Trask pick. If you look at him, look at all the knocks on him. He's too slow. He's a statue in the pocket. He doesn't have the strongest arm. You're looking at all that, like his bowl game. I believe he threw about three interceptions. One of them was a pick six, and I remember I think it was his dad who was posting on Twitter about how he was not getting any help from his receivers, and that's why he kept throwing all those picks. But you look at it, if you look, past those, concerns with the arm and his mobility, hey, Ben Roethlisberger is not even a mobile quarterback, and he still finds ways, to make plays for the Steelers. So you don't necessarily have to be a mobile quarterback to be successful. You look at Ben Roethlisberger, you look at Tom Brady; those guys are very successful Super Bowl winning guys who they're not going to be taken off, and they're not going to scare defenses with their feet, but Kyle Trask is still a very accurate quarterback. You look at this guy who never even played varsity football game, if I'm correct. He never started a varsity football game, and he just went to camps and he balled out. And then he went from not playing high school football to being a starting quarterback in the SEC. So that's got to say something to his leadership and to his talent. And like I said, he's not going to have the strongest arm, but he's going to be accurate, which is what you like to see from a young quarterback. This might be a pick where he can sit and learn under Ben for a year and, take over that starting Steelers spot next season.
Yeah, I mean, just to have Big Ben probably going to retire after this season. It's already time, man. I think he should have retired already. But to have a guy with some upside, but not as probably not high of a ceiling as the other guys that went first. But I mean, we'll never know. But I think this is a great, smart pick for the Steelers. And I mean, Big Ben, you know, can still mentor the guy, and we'll see how he does in the NFL.
Alrighty, and it looks like I have the 25th pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, they drafted Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick earlier in the draft. And so, looking over some team needs for the Jaguars, they still need help on the offensive line. You get Trevor Lawrence, and you're probably going to need someone to keep him upright. They could probably use another receiver, but let's see. 'Cause I know they have Chris Conley still on the team. Not sure about any other receivers at the moment. And it looks like I have the pick in for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is a guy who's waited long enough for his name to be called. With the 25th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Christian Darrisaw, the offensive tackle for Virginia Tech. This is going to be a very solid pickup for the Jaguars. Cam Robinson, right now, is the franchise left tackle. Uh, you know, and that that's not any knock on Cam Robinson, but if you can get another, very solid pass blocking tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The more the merrier. And Christian Darrisaw, he can play left or right, but preferably probably on the left side. Very talented pass blocker, like I've already said. This is going to be a guy that you have Trevor Lawrence at number one, and you got to get him some protection for the offensive line because even though they had 1,000-yard rusher last season for Jacksonville. That line can always definitely get helped out a bit. And this is a pick that Trevor Lawrence is really gonna love.
Yeah, man. Christian Darsaw, I had him up there too, man. But I just, other picks got in the way. But Christian Darsaw is like another good run blocking tackle, man. He's another guy that gets up to the second level and stays on guys and makes sure that he punishes them. And he's a really good, like another good pass protector too. I mean, which is essentially what you're gonna need for your young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. And so I like the pick, man. I like the guy. I'm a little bummed out I didn't pick him, but like I said, it's the you want to take the best guy that you think is available for your teams, and so yeah, it's a good overall pick, man. And yeah, Christian Darsaw.
Yeah, Ricky, said that he's, you know, really good at the run, and he is, man. He puts guys on their asses, and I like the way how he plays. He's probably the best run blocking offensive tackle in this draft, and I didn't see too much film on his pass blocking. Like he's good, he makes guys stand still, but as a run blocker, man, he's just ferocious, and he's gonna be really great for that offense.
Yeah, and this is a guy I actually had over Elijah Vera Tucker, even with the experience that he had. I think Darisaul can definitely fit on the as a left tackle in the future for any team, regardless of who picked him. Uh, but yeah, the Cleveland Browns are currently on the clock right now, and that's going to be AG's pick. So we're just waiting. But some other guys on the board still available: Caleb Farley, Jeremiah Wusu Kamara, Greg Newsome, Aziz Olojo. I can't pronounce that name right now. I'm not sure why. Uh, Ojolari and Christian Barmore are some of the top guys still on the board. All right, looks like the 26th overall pick is in for the Browns. Go ahead, take it, AG.
All right, so with the 26th overall pick for the Cleveland Browns, I got them selecting Aziz Ojolari. I mean, for Aziz to drop this far down in the draft is pretty crazy to me. But Aziz Ojolari, I mean, yeah, I get it. The Browns have Miles Garrett and now Jadeveon Clowney, but who do they have behind him? I mean, like I said earlier, you know, he just really needs to work on his run. But as a pass rusher, he can work on it too. And I mean, just to learn from two of the best to do it in the game right now. I mean, Miles Garrett is a top edge rusher in the game. Jadeveon Clowney, top five. But Aziz Ojolari can really learn behind these guys, and it's just added depth to a Browns team that you know keeps on adding talent to their team, and it'll just be really great for him.
Yeah, man. If you want to find a way to get him all involved, he could also maybe play a little bit of inside too on third down to have Garrett, Clowney, and this guy, rushing at you. It'll be scary. The Browns are they're up to something, man, and it's gonna be a really good solid pick. He's a very physical edge rusher. Like we were saying, he could play the run as well, get off blocks and make plays. But really good pick for the Browns, and yeah, hopefully things work out.
And this is a guy who makes big plays at the biggest moments. In their bowl game against Cincinnati, he had 4 tackles for a loss, and he also had 3 sacks on that game. So big impact player for the Cleveland Browns. like Ricky said, the Browns are definitely building something, and the defense is going to even look scarier now with Aziz. I also saw some film on him against Alabama. He had that huge hit on Mac Jones that forced Mac Jones to throw that interception in the game. So this is definitely a guy that's going to get off the edge, or he can, like Ricky said, move inside and have him as a blitzing inside backer. They're going to find a way to use him and Garrett, at the same time to go after the quarterback. This is a great pick. I would have loved to also seen a receiver for Cleveland. I think they probably need some help at wide receiver. I know they have Odell Beckham and I know they have Jarvis Landry. I think that they could probably also, just in case any of them got hurt, they could have also gotten a receiver to help them out. But this is still a great pick for the Cleveland. Go Browns, go Browns, baby. Alrighty, so the 27th pick belongs to the Ravens. Uh, Currently on the clock. AG.
All right. So with the Ravens at the number 27 overall pick, I got them selecting Jalen Mayfield from Michigan, offensive tackle. This is a surprise pick, but not really because they did trade away Ronnie Stanley to the Chiefs. So they're in need of an offensive tackle. And I was looking at film on this guy, and I really like him. Uh, he did really well against Chase Young when they played against each other. He held his own. He didn't do really, he didn't do like really great, but he did hold his own better than a lot of other guys when Jason or Chase Young played against him. And Jalen Mayfield, man, he's great at the pass. He's good at the run. Um, I know this pick probably won't happen, but I can see it. It just makes sense, and it will fill a void that the Ravens really need right now.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, very athletic tackle, man. This is a guy who, you know, he can definitely hold his own. And yeah, like you said against, I remember that game against Chase Young. But hey, man, who's gonna win a lot of battles with Chase Young 1-on-1? Um, so yeah, I mean Jalen Mayfield, is another guy that I was looking at also. But you know what he can definitely provide for the team is that just that you know physical run blocking, and then also very smart pass protector, man. He's really good at identifying blitzes and all that stuff. I've noticed from him. And so I think it'll be a good pickup, considering that, yeah, the Ravens just lost, you know, their offensive tackle. You want to find a guy to replace him. I think Jalen Mayfield could be that guy.
Yeah, like you guys have said, he's definitely a really solid run blocker. His footwork can get a little lazy at times. I saw some of his film, and his feet tend to get, as the game progresses, his footwork gets a little bit sloppier, and he kind of relies on his big frame to move some guys around. And obviously, the ankle is a bit of a concern. He hurt his ankle this past season in Michigan, so he's got to go through medicals. But if it checks out and he can work on his footwork and get more technical, this is going to be a pretty solid pick, and he's going to be, I think, someone that's probably going to have to, I don't know if he's going to start day one for Baltimore, but this is going to be a guy that in the future could be a very solid offensive tackle for the Ravens for sure. All right, and so the New Orleans Saints are on the clock at 28th overall. We will have that pick shortly for you guys. Alrighty, Ricky. Uh, Taking that 28th overall pick to you for the New Orleans Saints. Go ahead.
Yeah, and with the 28th overall pick, I have the New Orleans Saints drafting Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. So Caleb Farley, man, was another one of those guys that we were looking at as Niner fans, and we are like, God damn, it'd be nice to have that guy. Really, knows how to break on the ball and then get after it. He's again one of the more solid and physical cornerbacks, man. He is not afraid to jam up a receiver, and he's always in the right position to make the right play on the ball, which is what I love about Caleb Farley, man. The Saints, the new, bit of help on the cornerback side, but I think Caleb Farley can fill in that missing hole that they have and just give them a spark, man. I mean, we were all saying it that Caleb Farley, would have been a great cornerback no matter what team he goes to. and I think the Saints is a perfect fit for Caleb Farley.
Right, you put him up with Lattimore on the other side, and then this is going to be a defensive backfield that quarterbacks are going to hate going up against. Uh, he's not I don't see him as the best pass coverage guy in this draft. Obviously, Patrick Surtain and J.C. Horn are probably a little bit better in coverage than Caleb Farley, and then he also had the opt out, and injuries have also plagued him a bit. But if once he's on the field, man, and once he gets hot, he gets hot. And like I said, he's not he's not a better coverage guy, but he makes up for it by being just an insane athletic guy. And this is going to be a pick that if works out with medical, and he can get well adjusted into the Saints system and get back to playing again. Because the opt outs, they hurt a lot of these guys with terms of playing time. But if he can fit right in with New Orleans, this is going to be a great pick for the Saints.
Yeah, great pick. You know, yeah, like Rod said, I mean, not the most best at pass coverage, but he can definitely work on it. Maybe I would have liked Sante Samuel at this pick too. But I mean, Caleb Farley does have very great skill sets, and if he just polishes it out, which I think he will, I think he'll pan out fine. I mean, this draft class for the secondaries really well, but yeah, it's just great overall pick for the New Orleans Saints.
All right, we are nearing the end of our draft. We are currently at the 29th overall pick with the Green Bay Packers. AG is going to be making that selection shortly. So, just looking at some of the guys that's still on the board, we have Jeremiah Wusu Kamara, who's still on the board. We have Greg Newsom Jr., the cornerback out of Northwestern, Christian Barmore, who made a name for himself in the college football playoff this past season. Ricky, I know you were a big fan of Christian Barmore. Unfortunately, that he's sliding right now. And yeah, like AG said, we have Asante Samuel Jr. Still on the board. Let's see. Um, so yeah, so with the 29th pick, okay, the Green Bay Packers are on the clock.
All right, so with the pick for the Packers, I got them selecting Rondell Moore out of Purdue. Crazy pick. I know he's short, but he's he had a really solid season. Everyone has very high on him. Um, another, I mean, Matt LaFleur, coming from a Kyle Shanahan, offense, will really do
Wonders.
wonders, wonders for. God, I'll cut that out. He'll really do wonders for this offense, and especially for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Packers fans have been dying for another receiver to help out Devontae, but I mean, this will be a really great pick for the.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, Rondell Moore, man. When I look at this guy, I look at just another Debo, man, who was not afraid to run over guys. Like you said, he's not the biggest guy, but man, he's not afraid to run through a defender and fight for more yards, man, which is awesome. And yeah, we've said it throughout the years that they never find a way to get Aaron Rodgers weapons, and I think this is a good weapon. The way Lafleur can dial up some plays, he'll find a way to get this guy involved. And yeah, good pick, Rondell Moore.
Yeah, this is a guy that I put on the film, and he kind of reminds me a lot of like Deshaun Jackson, just like a smaller but really explosive and fast wide receiver. He didn't have the production that you would have liked to see the past couple years, but he had a very solid 2018 campaign where he had over 1,000 receiving yards. And looking at this guy, uh, obviously size is a bit of concern, but you know when he was not on the field for Purdue, their offense went down by a lot. And that's saying something by the fact that, not only is he a talented receiver, but he was probably, a leader in that huddle and leader on the sidelines. Because when he wasn't playing, their offense dropped by a lot. Like I said before, over 1,000 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns in 2018. After that, production, injuries also caught up with him. But if he's healthy, this is a great playmaker and I'm sure Green Bay Packers fans are going to be very happy for the selection. We are nearing the end of our draft, and at the moment are at the 30th overall pick, and that belongs to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills will belong to Ricky, their pick. Looks like the pick is in for the Buffalo Bills. Go ahead and take it away, Ricky.
Yep, with the 30th pick in the draft, I have the Bills drafting Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. Honestly, man, Rashad Bateman, he's like what 6'2", 210, but he plays bigger than that, man. He's a guy that fights with the ball, one-on-one coverage down the field, and finds a way to make plays, man. This guy, he's special. I think he could really complement, Stephon Diggs, him as a 1-2 punch for Josh Allen. And yeah, we saw him sliding, but I'm surprised. I'm not surprised that he's a first round pick. This guy's he's fast, and like I said, he's very shifty and has really good hands. And I'm just it's a really good pick for the Buffalo Bills, Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, great pick. I was very high on him on my draft. Um, you know, I think he'll pan out to be a great receiver and just another added weapon for Josh Allen. Now you got his more scary of an offense. I mean, you got Stephon Diggs. Who else is that receiver for them?
They currently have Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley also on the depth chart.
Yeah, that's going to be one hell of an offense to watch, and I think it will really help that team get over the hump a little bit more, and probably have even a shot to going to the Super Bowl. Who knows? But I like this.
Yeah, and I think there was a bit of a drop off with Minnesota football just in general because his sophomore year he had 1,200 receiving yards, he had over 11 touchdowns, and then this past season you can tell that the production dropped quite a bit because he had 472 receiving yards and only 2 touchdowns this past season. So um, just Minnesota football, in general, I think had a bit of a decline, and obviously that with the shortened seasons as well, so you can't really, that's not a full season to really say that the numbers don't look as well as the year before, which is understandable, but uh, you know he's still going to be a very solid receiver. I know Minnesota's, try to use him, as much as they can. They've, used him on a lot of jet sweeps as well. So this is a guy that's, could be, you know, not only a dynamic receiver, but he can definitely like carry the ball quite a bit. And so this is, some player that the Buffalo Bills are really going to be happy about. It's only going to make their offense scarier because now you got to worry about Cole Beasley, who's been a really good slot for them, Emmanuel Sanders, who's been a consistent wide receiver the past couple years for both the Saints and the 49ers, and Stephon Diggs, who's obviously a top 10 wide receiver, in my opinion. So the rich only get richer for Buffalo, for sure. Alrighty, and then rounding up the 31st overall pick that used to belong to the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe is now the Baltimore Ravens selection from the trade. And pick is currently in. Let's take it over to AG for the 31st selection.
All right, so with the 31st overall pick for the Baltimore Ravens, I got them selecting, Rod, I think you will like this, Terrence Marshall out of LSU.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
you, you know, standing at 6'3", 205, ran a 4.38, 40. He's a gifted athlete, but there's been some uh, medical issues that came out. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I don't think that will affect his stock. I mean, everyone thinks it will, but I really like this pick for Baltimore, and Lamar Jackson does need some weapons, and I think Terrence Marshall will be a great weapon and added dimension to his offense.
Yeah, and this was a pick that I was ready to select Terrence Marshall at 32 with the Bucs right now. I was ready to take him at 32 until you came up and grabbed the AG. But yeah, very physical wide receiver. He stepped up a lot with Jamar Chase opting out of the season. And just I was watching, some more film on him last night, and wow, like that was the only expression I had watching his film because he made some, big time grabs in coverage. They double teamed him at LSU, and he still found ways to get open or make those incredible one-handed catches that we've seen from LSU receivers. Uh, there was this one play where, obviously you need 2 feet in the NFL for it, for a catch on the sideline or in the end zone, but he made a beautiful, catch where he got 1 foot like just in bounds and while making a one-handed grab, and that just shows the concentration that he has a receiver. This is going to be a guy, like I said earlier in this mock draft, that's going to probably have the same production as Justin Jefferson year one. And this is a great pickup for the Baltimore Ravens. I know they need help at the receiving core because Hollywood Brown's been, he's been taking a couple steps back. So this is either going to be a great push for him, or this is going to be a guy that, is going to be able to take his role. And this is, going to help out the Baltimore Ravens by a lot.
You want to find a weapon for Lamar Jackson? Just go give him a 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver. This guy, just he really found a way to step up. Like you said with Chase opting out this last year, man. Um, One of the more, I think, talented wide receivers in this draft. Yeah, because all he does is score touchdowns, man. That's all he does. And he's obviously going to be a red zone threat for Lamar, man. Lamar, like we said, that's what's been killing the Ravens. I think is that they can't find weapons to put around Lamar, which is really why they can't get over that hump. They can't get that playoff win. So and I think Marshall will be able to help him out with that, man. So it's a really good pick, man. Really good pick.
Alrighty, and finally, with the 32nd overall pick, the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers are currently on the clock. Looking at some of the top guys still on the board, surprisingly, Jeremiah Wusu Kamara has yet to have his name called. Greg Newsome the second, Christian Barmore are some notable names that are still on the board, and a big guy that I did not expect to be off the board is Travis Etienne, or hasn't been selected yet. I'm surprised that he hasn't. But you look at some of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers needs. I have them needing some help on the offensive and defensive line. So with the 32nd overall pick, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Creed Humphrey, offensive lineman from Oklahoma. This is a guy who, big frame, 6'5", 315 pounds. He's been that leader on the offensive line from Oklahoma since he was a freshman. He's, freshman year till, till his junior year. He's been a leader on the offensive line. This is a solid blocker. He's more of a power running guy, which works great for Tampa Bay's offense. He's not really a zone kind of guy. He's just, going to snap the ball and he's going to go find someone to hit. Great pickup for Tampa Bay Buccaneer Ryan Jensen. Uh, their true center, he got injured, and when they had injuries along the offensive line, they also, when he was healthy, they also moved him around to guard and stuff. So if you can get another guy who's a true center to help out Tampa, I think this is going to be a great pick for the Bucs.
Creed Creed Humphrey, man, really a really smart center, man. When it comes to identifying things, which is what you're gonna need to do if you're gonna be blocking for Tom Brady. Um, really good, really guy. He gets up to the second level. He's another one of those guys, man. That gets up to the second level and just drives guys to the ground. And like we were talking about Ryan Jensen too. Um, but Creed Humphrey, I think, is definitely a guy that can step up and play that starting center position. With Tom Brady. You know, very solid pass protector, like I said. Also in the run. So I like the pick.
Yeah, great
Yeah,
pick.
Creed Humphrey.
Just to help solidify the offense, and they're really thinking of the future. I can actually see this happening. But yeah, great overall pick.
Alrighty, and that concludes our 2021 NFL mock draft special. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a blast to be able to watch film and go over and evaluate guys. I know I've had a lot of fun. I'm sure AG and Ricky, I know you guys, this was a long process, but I think this was definitely worthwhile. And, like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And alrighty, guys, I'll catch you on the next podcast. See you guys later.
So yeah,
Later.